Hello chess family, it's me, National Master Jesse James, and today we're going to be taking a look at rule number 15. Don't expose your king while the enemy queen is still on the board. Of course, when you're playing against very strong chess players, this is especially the truth. Anytime your king is weak, we will attack it. And Morphy, one of the Masters Attack, is going to go give us a masterclass lesson in this idea. Some good things to do is definitely do not let your opponent's queen on the board whenever you're going to be exposing your king. In endgame, it's quite okay, but obviously with the queens on the board, she's one of the best attackers, so you want to stop that from happening. Try not to move pawns in front of your king. Let's go and see how Morphy does a masterclass lesson with this idea. Here we go. We start off with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, as Morphy always loved to play. And here we're going a little bit into his opening repertoire. Repertoire meaning that if you play certain ways, like if the Italian gets played, there's two ways that Black usually plays here. Knight f6 and bishop c5. If you play knight f6 against Morphy, he's going to go knight g5, and he'll go for his knight attack game. Hopefully he'll get into his fried liver. And if you play bishop c5, well, you still have to deal with another attack, this time the Evans Gambit, named after Captain Evans. Do you know what to play for the Evans Gambit? Here we go. Pawn to b4 gets played. It looks like a very strange move here, but the idea is very sound, and it still gets used in Grandmaster games today. Well, if you don't take the pawn, you'll just be worse. And knight takes b4 here is not the best move here as well. The main idea is pretty much the same. The idea why we give away the pawn is because we want to get a pawn to d4, but we want to make sure that they can't just take right away. So we get a free tempo, or free move, by playing pawn c3. The knight would retreat back, and now we can get d4 in one go. And here you see if they take, now you have these two beautiful pawns in the center. Now the best way to do this is not knight takes because, well, there's no hidden variations. But the best way will be to play bishop takes here. And the reason why is after you play the free tempo of pawn to c3, there's many different places you can move your bishop to. You have bishop a5, which is definitely one of the best ways to play. Bishop d6 and even bishop e7 all get played in practical games. Well, one of the best ways to play, bishop a5 was played. Obviously, if you do play this bishop c5, then the bishop has to move yet once again. A nice rule is if you can give up a pawn for 3 moves, you should be doing good with your sacrifice. And so here you'll see the bishop has moved from c5 to b4 to c5, and again it's going to get kicked away. So here, definitely not the move that you want to play. So in the game, bishop a5 was played. Well, you know what? We played this to play d4. This is a gambit opening, meaning we're going to give away material such as a pawn, knight, or bishop to get our pieces out fast. We played the gambit. You better stick to it, and Morphy's not going to back away. Pawn to d4, the best way to play for the continuation. E takes d4, definitely one of the best moves. And here we castle. Obviously, we would love to take pawn takes back, but this is one of the reasons why the bishop retreats to a5. It keeps the pin on this king. So we're just going to go ahead and castle. And here, well, the pawn taking on c3 has been played, and it's not a very good idea. Some good moves to play are going to be like knight f6, knight ge7. Basically, don't take this pawn as well. You're going to be losing it, and you're going to be helping out Morphy. Well, theory wasn't as advanced as it was back then, and pawn takes on c3. All right, here we go. Develop with threats. Here, there's many good moves you can do to develop with a good threat here. I'll go ahead and give you the idea. Let's develop this bishop right here on c1, and let's try to stop our opponent from castling. There is people who saying here bishop to g5, which not a terrible idea. Obviously, if you put the knight to f6, you know, black is going to be terrible. e5 is just winning like right on the spot. But if you're playing against a smarter opponent, knight ge7, you only give him a tempo that gets ready to castle. And the knight on e7 is very well placed. So, what do we play here instead? Here I like the move that Morphy plays, bishop to a3. Look at this beautiful bishop cutting through. This pretty much forces the next reply for black. Black goes ahead and plays pawn d6, a very good move here, blocking the bishop. Of course, even if we brought the knight out to f6 earlier without the pawn here, we wouldn't be able to castle because you can't castle through check. All right, here we go. Develop with a threat. Here we're going to develop our queen. Should we go to d5 or b3? The idea here is to put pressure on the weak f7 pawn, which is the weakest pawn whenever the king is uncastled. What should we play here, queen b3 or queen d5? It's important that you think about this because, well, with one of these moves, you're going to let black make trades. And because we're gambiting, giving away material, trades are only going to help out our opponent. As by one, I think it was rule number 12, trade as many pieces as possible, especially the queens. So we don't want to allow that. So Well, for those of you who said queen d5, yes, this does throw into checkmate, but here you did not expect your opponent's move, and here black simply just plays bishop b6, and he's already in a better position here. Especially when you're playing gambits, you have to play as precise as possible. Only a few imprecise moves, not considering just bad moves, you will get to a very bad position. So here the correct move was queen to b3. Notice bishop b6 is not even an idea, as well we can just go ahead and take and get some free money out of this. Okay, well, queen b3 was played. We have pressure on the b7 pawn and also on f7 now. Here black chose to play knight to h6. Typically a knight on the rim is grim, but here it's a perfectly solid move here, as it's well defending the pawn on f7 and also getting ready to castle. Very good idea. Here we go, let's keep making moves. What's the next piece we want to move? Well, we developed all the minor pieces except for the knight. Simple chess, what do we play? Just knight takes c3. And here already another inaccuracy by black. Although black has played pretty solidly up until this point. Bishop takes c3. There's no need to give away a good bishop. Bishops are worth just a little bit more than knights, and already with this bishop takes, queen takes, this helps us make a threat. The game is already about even here. Here, what's the threat? Simple chess. We're just trying to take the pawn on g7, which is undefended, attacking the rook and the knight. Well, simple chess again for black. Black goes ahead and castles. All right, let's keep making moves. Let's keep making threats. What do you play here? What's the next piece that you want to move? Hopefully you're looking at developing your rooks. And where's the best place for our rooks to be placed? Remember, whenever you're doing this process, always think about both of them to make sure that you don't overlap and stop them from going to their best places. Here, the rook going to e1 I like, and the rook going to d1 I like. You can even play rook c1 and to d1, but here, I love Morphy's plan. He's going to go ahead and develop with a threat. Let's move the a rook to d1. Do you see his threat? If you're not paying attention, you'll miss it very easily. Pawn to e5. Now this is pinned on two different levels. We don't want to take on e5 due to the queen, and we don't want to take on e5 due to the rook. So developing with the threat, perfect idea. Here black saw the idea and tries to stop it. He plays knight to g4. Well, if this is the knight that's bothering us, let's get rid of it. What do we play here? Let's kick it. h3 was played. The knight went to e5, and here there is no good way to not make a trade here, so Morphy makes the trade himself. He goes ahead and takes. And of course we can't take back with the pawn because, well, we'll lose the queen. Knight takes is really the only good move in this position. And, well, we don't want to allow trade, so let's move this bishop somewhere safe. Here is a very nice move. Where do we place the bishop to? Remember, you have to think ahead. Be prophylactic. Think about what your opponent wants and either try to stop it or do not. Remember, if it's a good idea, you should definitely try to stop it. If it's a bad idea, let it happen. What do we play here? Should we play the bishop to b3, d3, or to e2? Many people here will probably get this answer wrong. Now, the way that we find the right answer here is by considering what does black want in this position. Well, it's black to move, and I was playing black. I would definitely be looking at develop this bishop next. And where's next? Where's the best place for this bishop? Definitely looking at this e6 square because remember, I want trades. So if you said bishop b3, not the best move. Black is very happy to play bishop b6 and look for some more trades. Bishop d3, well, he didn't really achieve anything. Black is very happy to trade off this bishop. One of white's advantages in this position is the bishop pair. So the best place, believe it or not, was to go to e2. Morphy knows this knight will not be here forever. In fact, that's going to be one of our next ideas, is to kick it away. Well, it's black's turn. Black went ahead and played. Pawn to f5. He was already foreseeing Morphy's idea. Can you find the move here? Let's start our kingside attack now. Let's start attacking, and let's kick this knight away. This is a very strong idea. What do we play here? Here we're going to get the rook into the game without even moving it. Pawn to f4. Beautiful move here attacking the knight. Well, the knight needs to move now. The knight went to c6. And now Morphy's able to get both bishops back into the game with beautiful tempos. Here we go. What do you play here? Checks, captures, and threats. We start up with bishop c4 check, attacking the king. The king pretty much has to go to h8 here. And now, this bishop's not doing too much on this diagonal, so we redirect it. Bishop b2. Look at these bishops. You could definitely see how the diagonal is very weak here. And I'm telling you, I'm missing my dark square bishop already. Bishop b2 redirects, and now we see a checkmate threat on g7. How should we block this idea? Here, it's already a very difficult position to play. There's even ideas about playing e5, putting pressure on d6. Remember, this pin is happening over here. Here, black is essentially playing without two pieces here, the light square bishop and the rook. By the time these guys get into the game is over. But we have to keep being precise with our moves. So, what do we play? Queen e7 was played. Ooh, putting pressure on the e4 pawn, but also the main idea is to defend on g7. All right. This rook is not doing too much on this file anymore, especially since we don't have any more pinning ideas. If you play e5 right now, black would be very happy because you can just go ahead and take, and after it takes back, bishop can go to e6 here, and then we're starting to blockade pretty nicely. Okay, okay. So what do? Let's redirect our pieces and get them active. So this rook's not doing too much there. Let's go ahead and play rook to e1. Okay, can't we just take? Here black goes ahead and plays rook f6 to block the diagonal. But he did hear someone say, can we just take? Takes would be a terrible idea, as again, we're trying to be active here. This queen is overloaded, trying to defend g7 and d4. Would not take Morphy too long. Rook takes e4 here, and the attack continues. And the rook is going to look beautiful in this open file here. Okay, okay. So black chose rook f6. He's trying to cut off this diagonal. All right, well, free money's free money. We're going to go ahead and open up our rook anyway. So pawn takes, and this is what black had prepared. Queen to f8. And here you can definitely sense something is in the air. I mean, you know things are going well. The bishops and queen are looking great over here. We have this open file right here. But if you don't find these next moves, well, you won't have an advantage as white. What do we play here? Of course, Morphy plays the best move. I'll give you a second to think on it. All right, here we go. This is why Morphy was such an amazing chess player. He looks for the forced moves, and he's able to just obliterate his opponents. What does he play here? He knows this diagonal's weak, and hopefully you've seen these ideas about queen takes on f6. They don't really work just yet because, well, there's a pawn and a queen defending it. Well, if you see these kind of ideas where things are not working because there's defenders, we have the simple idea, remove the defender. Hopefully you see the idea now. Rook to e8 gets played, and this is definitely a forced move. If you don't take, then I will take. Well, queen has to take here, and hopefully you see the follow-up idea. The amazing and beautiful queen takes on f6. Queen to e7. Wait a second. Can't we just take the free queen? Well, hopefully you did not just take right away. You have to think about these moves. If you take, bishop takes, look at this beautiful double bishop checkmate here. Again, the diagonal was weak, so these are ideas that Morphy's already looking for. Okay, so after queen takes f6, he goes ahead and plays queen to e7. Here, there are many different ways to win. Of course, Morphy's going to choose the most beautiful way to win. What would you play here to get to the winning position? Here, Morphy finds the beautiful queen takes g7. Oh my gosh, how mean is this guy? For other people, though, this is a winning position. Then there's many different ways to roam. So, what do we play? Here, queen takes e7 was also a fun way to play. If knight takes, we can look at rook e1. This is just going to win back the piece as well. The back rank is very weak, so you're going to win a piece here. Also, there's a beautiful idea after knight takes e7 to play pawn to f6, threatening the knight and the checkmate square. So you can't just move your knight around or else you get checkmated. I think the only way that you can really try to play this was something like knight to f5. But even here, you have pawn to g4 ideas, pawn takes on g7, rook to e1. Again, many roads to Rome over here. So here in the game, Morphy finds the most beautiful way to win. Queen takes on g7. It doesn't get much more force than this. Queen takes. Can you find the follow-up here? Okay, if you're calculating bishop takes g7 ideas, good job for looking. Unfortunately, this just gives away the whole attack. Here, black is now in a winning position. Okay, let's go back. What do you play here then? Here, f6 gets played. And now you see the idea. If this queen moves away, this bishop will be opened up for the discovery attack against the king. And there's really no good place for the queen to move to. At this point, black pretty much gave up and played queen takes g2. Wait a second, can't I just go to h6 or f8? Both of those moves get handled the exact same way. You get checkmated. So what happens after queen to h6? Can you find the forced mate? Here, pawn f7 check gets played. And if you try to play something like queen g7, checkmate in 1, here it's up to you. I would make a rook. It just looks a little prettier right there. Of course, the line goes on a little bit further after f7. Black can try knight to e5, but again, all these ideas are just losing. Pawn takes, queen e3 check, king to h2, and yeah, here the computer's already saying let's just give up the queen with queen g1 check and queen f4 check. Here, there's too many ways that you're going to be getting checkmated. The game doesn't really end any better for the main line. Again, after this idea, Morphy's opponent just went queen takes g2, king takes, bishop takes h3. Now this is forced because we need to get control over g8 for black to make sure you don't get checkmated. King takes on h3, and only now does he make the escape square upon h5. Alright, let's just finish this game off nice. What do we play? Again, many different ways to win here, but Morphy chooses a very simple way. Rook to g1, and there really is no good stopping this f7 check idea, with again the idea going to g8, either allowing a queen to be made, or just winning the rook over here. Well, I hope you enjoyed this game. Remember, don't expose your king while the enemy queen is still on the board, especially if you see lots of pieces heading toward it. I'll see you in the next video.